Level 1. The Tinkerer. You are 23 years old. You just graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. You didn't want to build toasters or design suspension bridges. You wanted to build things that defy physics. You apply to the CIA. You expect a high-tech interview. Instead, they hand you a brick and a pocket knife and tell you to hide a roll of film inside it in 10 minutes without changing the weight of the brick. You do it. You're hired. Your first job is humble: concealment. You spend 10 hours a day drilling into quarters, tree branches, and dead rats. You are building dead drops. You learn to hollow out a jagged rock so perfectly that a master geologist wouldn't look twice at it. You install a waterproof capsule inside that can hold a micro SD card with nuclear secrets. You learn that in the world of spies, boring is better. If it looks interesting, you failed. You make $70,000 a year, and your friends think you work in logistics. Level 2. The Audio Artisan. You're 26. You've mastered concealment. Now you move to audio ops. Your job is to capture conversations that never happen. You aren't just buying microphones off Amazon. You are building listening devices smaller than a grain of rice. You learn to solder wires thinner than a human hair under a microscope. You build a microphone into the heel of a diplomat's shoe. You build a transmitter into a wooden table leg that uses the wood itself as an antenna. You learn about acoustics, how sound bounces off glass, how to filter out the hum of an air conditioner to hear a whisper across the room. You realize that privacy is an illusion. If you can see it, you can hear it. Level 3. The Identity Architect. You're 29. You are transferred to the disguise branch. This isn't theater makeup. This is survival. A case officer needs to meet an asset in a crowded market in Tehran, and he needs to look like a 60-year-old local merchant. You build the face. You work with medical-grade silicone. You hand-punch individual gray hairs into a mask that mimics the pores and imperfections of human skin. You design 5-second overlays, masks that can be ripped off in a dark alley to instantly change a target's race and age. You also forge the documents: passports, driver's licenses, credit cards. You learn the security features of 150 different countries, the watermarks, the holograms, the specific feel of the paper. You are creating people who don't exist. Level 4. The Entry Specialist. You're 32. You've hidden things and you've hidden people. Now, you need to get them into places they aren't allowed. You are a master of surreptitious entry. Locks, safes, digital keypads. You don't just pick locks, you build tools to open them without leaving a scratch. You design a device that slides under a door and turns the handle from the inside using a fiber optic camera. You reverse engineer the most expensive Swiss bank vaults. You learn that every lock has a mechanical flaw, and your job is to find it. You are the guy they call when the agency needs to plant a bug in an ambassador's office, and they only have a 3-minute window. Level 5. The Aerosystems Engineer. You're 36. You move to the Insectothopter division. Drones. But not the big predators that fire missiles. You are building surveillance that looks like nature. You design a drone the size of a dragonfly that can fly through an open window and transmit video. You solve the problem of battery life by using the wind to glide. You paint it to look like a local bird. You build high-altitude balloons that sit in the stratosphere for months, listening to radio frequencies over hostile nations. You are no longer just reacting to requests. You are building the eyes of the agency. You make $130,000 a year, but the technology you play with is worth billions. Level 6. The Cyber-Physical Interface. You're 40. The world has gone digital, and so have you. You work in the gap between hardware and software. Your job is to hack things that aren't connected to the internet. You build a USB drive that looks like a vape pen. When a guard plugs it into charge, it downloads the facility's access codes. You modify a printer cable to record every document sent to the printer. You build implants, tiny chips that field agents have to physically solder onto a motherboard inside a server room in North Korea. You are building the bridges that let the cyber spies cross the moat. Level 7. The Field Tech. You're 44. You've spent years in the lab. Now you're in the field. You are deployed to a denied area. You are the Q who goes with Bond. You live in a safe house in a war zone. When a case officer's car is shot up, you fix the communications. When an asset needs to smuggle a person out of the country, you modify a sedan in 4 hours, building a hidden compartment inside the fuel tank that can hold a human being while still allowing the car to drive. You feel the pressure now. If your gadget fails in the lab, you lose time. If your gadget fails here, your friends die. You carry a gun, but your soldering iron is more dangerous. Level 8. The OTS Division Chief. You're 49. You are back at Langley. You run an entire division now, maybe audio, maybe concealment. You manage 50 geniuses who are just like you were at 23. You manage the budget. You decide which crazy ideas get funding and which ones get cut. You sit in meetings with the director of operations. They tell you they need to track a terrorist leader who uses no technology, no phone, no computer. They ask you, how do we find him? You have to come up with the answer. You authorize the creation of smart dust, microscopic sensors that can be sprinkled on a target's clothes to track them via thermal signature. You are the architect of the impossible. Level 9. The Director of Technical Service. You're 55. You run the whole show. Every gadget, every disguise, every covert communication system used by every CIA officer on the planet comes from your shop. You are the real Q. You meet with the president's science advisors. You liaise with DARPA and Silicon Valley. You know technology that is 20 years ahead of the public. You know about the cloaking materials that bend light. You know about the underwater gliders that have been mapping the Pacific for a decade. Your job is to ensure that the United States never enters a room it can't see into or tries to open a door it can't unlock. You make $185,000 a year. You could make 10 times that at Apple or Google, but Apple doesn't let you save the world. Level 10. The Futurist. You retire at 60, but you don't really leave. You become a consultant. You work on the black projects, the ones that don't have names. You work on Level 10 tech, human biological tracking. You consult on the ethics and engineering of injectable biomonitors, tiny organic circuits that dissolve into the bloodstream, powered by the body's own heat, broadcasting a pulse that can be picked up by a satellite. No more batteries, no more bugs. The asset is the technology. You look back at your career. You started by drilling holes in rocks. You ended by turning biology into machinery. You walk through a mall and see people staring at their phones, thinking they are advanced. You smile. If they only knew what you built in the 90s, they'd be terrified. You are the invisible hand that shaped the modern world of surveillance, and nobody even knows your name. Subscribe.